What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Sports Betting with Let's Get 60. I'm your host, Justin Travis, and as always, you can find me on Twitter at Let's Get 60. On the web, Let's Get 60.com, and on pickmonitor.com, Let's Get 60. And I just realized that I should have all my info on every slide here so people can just see exactly who to fade. Okay, we talked about a lot of these games here, and I cut it a bit short um, because I spent way too much time breaking down Texas A&M and Clemson, and I wanted to make sure we had enough time for this for the Bama game. So, New Mexico State at Bama. I have Bama here minus 38. Current line is minus 55 from 54.5. So when they hung 54.5, somebody took it and pushed them to 55. Fine. Okay. 55 points is a ridiculous number for Bama to cover, and I'll tell you why. I tweeted this out earlier today. Last 30 games. This is as far back as I could go with the limited time and resources that I have. I would love to see if anyone could go back further, but I can tell you that the last 30 games is indicative of Saban's career at Bama. Bama is 2-9 against the spread as 45 to 55 point favorites. 2-9 when they're favored by between 45 and 55 points. They're 0-3 when they're favored by between 50 and 55 points. Okay? Bama does not do well when they're favored by more than 45 points. Okay? Now, I heard this last year from Chris Felica. Okay? I didn't believe it. I bet them to cover a big number. I think it was like anywhere between high 40s or whatever. And of course they didn't cover it. And then I got so pissed that I was like, I'm gonna fade them. I'm gonna fade them next year. Fuck Bama, blah blah blah. That's the game they went into Vanderbilt and just like 55-3 or something, and just totally destroyed Vanderbilt. So I lost twice on Bama in 2 weeks, and I think that's kind of hard to do. But that's what happened. This year, I'm not going to make that same mistake twice, okay? I'm taking New Mexico State against Bama, and I'm taking the 55 points, okay? Bama and Saban do not cover these numbers, okay? And they have South Carolina next week. I don't think Saban is going to give a shit about how many points he beats New Mexico State by. When it comes to, obviously, that game will be well in hand come halftime, probably. He'll rest his starters, throw his backups in, whatever. Just watch the knees, chill out, and be ready for South Carolina. Okay? New Mexico State plus 55. All right, San Diego State at UCLA. My line, UCLA -1. That's just respect out of the Power 5 and then being at home. I really don't believe they should be favored by -1, but I really couldn't come up with a better number. Current line, UCLA -7.5 from 8. So the shift from 8 to 7.5 tells you that there's some other people that believe that San Diego State is the player, as do I. Okay, clearly I think UCLA should be -1. Here the spread is 7.5, 8, going to take San Diego State. San Diego State, I think, lost 4 or 5 games in a row last year. They are going to be pumped this year to put on a good showing, especially against a Power 5 school like UCLA. This is blood in the water, guys. UCLA is bleeding here, and San Diego State are the Sharks. What has UCLA done in the last 2 weeks to warrant them a -8 or -7.5 at home against San Diego State? They couldn't even beat Cincinnati. San Diego State is the play. Alrighty. University of Louisiana Monroe at Florida State. Florida State starts their ACC schedule after this game. They have to play Virginia. That is a big, big game. Okay, they cannot take any team lightly. Their debacle against Boise State, but they certainly cannot take Virginia lightly. How focused is Florida State going to be at University of Louisiana Monroe? Okay, I say they win or I say the 10. Say the spread is 10. Mark is giving me 21. I'm all over University of Louisiana Monroe. Okay, I think Taggart's in over his head. I think the offensive line is god awful, and I think those players are starting to doubt themselves already. Like getting shut out in the second half by Boise State is unacceptable for a team like Florida State with that much talent. And I think University of Louisiana Monroe is going to go in there thinking they can win this game. I think they play Florida State tough. I think Florida State gets a win, but it's going to be tight. Give me the 21 points. All right, BYU at Tennessee. Tennessee's got issues. Again, this is a line much like UCLA. Fine, I'll give Tennessee the -1 because they're at home. Current line is now Tennessee -3.5, up from -1. I don't understand that at all. I think that's totally square money thinking, oh, Tennessee's an SEC school. They'll bounce back from the Georgia Southern loss and beat BYU. Guys, BYU's pretty good. Okay, they held their own against Utah for a while. They're going to Tennessee, much like University of Louisiana Monroe, and much like these other teams. Hey, here's a chance to beat a Power 5 school when the Power 5 school is down a bit. Tennessee, I mean, there's nowhere to go from but up for Tennessee. I get that, but give me 3.5. I'm taking BYU. Their quarterback can sling it. Tennessee lost a defensive back. Not that he played in Georgia Southern, but they lost a defensive back. They lost a backup wide receiver. Those guys walked. The morale's got to be low on that team. I'll take BYU. All right, the other biggie, LSU at Texas. Guys, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this because I think we saw what LSU is capable of. I understand they played, I don't know, I forget who they played, but Felica thought that was going to be a football game. Okay, it wasn't. That's how good LSU is. Now they get to prove it. Texas got some running back injuries, some issues on running back in the running backs. Does that mean Edminger or whatever his name is needs to run more? They're going to be a little bit more one-dimensional there when it comes to the running. LSU and Oregon, he's got this offense that he's like his new toy that he wants to play with. I got LSU at 4. Grabbed it at 5.5 as soon as it moved. It's now at 6.5 from 4. So hit that right on the head there. I don't see LSU having much trouble with Texas at all. I mean, we'll just move on. All right, Arkansas at Ole Miss. The reason I have this up here is I like the over, and then I saw it move from 57 to 50. Okay, that's just interesting to me. If it moves much more, I'm thinking that's a market overreaction. I'm going to take the over, but we'll see what happens in the next couple of days with that line. Miami at UNC. I like Miami -3. Current line is -3.5 from 5.5. I think this is a total perception. They see Miami losing to Florida, and they saw UNC beating South Carolina, even though South Carolina lost their quarterback, who was throwing interceptions. So UNC made a ton of mistakes. There's no way they should have won that game. They did. Now they got to host Miami, who's had extra rest and has got to be chomping at the bit to get that Florida game out of their head because they could have won that game. I think Miami goes in there and exploits UNC for all they are, or lack thereof. Miami -3.5. Cal at Washington. I got Washington -24 here. I understand that Cal's defense is phenomenal, and I get all that, but Washington's good. It went from 11.5 to 14, so everybody's jumping on Washington. I get it. I'm interested in the first half with Cal. Cal's got a great defense. Can they keep it close in the first half? We're going to look at the first half line for Cal. And finally, Minnesota at Fresno State. I say Mini -3. Current line's -3. Fresno State's has struggled. Is going to struggle running the ball. They've lost for 2 running backs. I think the only reason why that USC game was close because USC's quarterback went out. I think this is a classic Fresno State kind of playing outside of, overachieved a little bit. The real Fresno State will show up and lose to Minnesota, in my opinion. All right, guys. We're going to stop here. Again, we're trying to keep it under 10 minutes. Look for the next part. We'll talk about the NFL. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care, everyone.